Hi, Tom Hayes, and thanks for tuning in for another episode of UpBeat. I'm really excited today because, as I've told you before, I'm a stand-up comedian, and it's just a joy to be able to get on stage and do what I love to do. And I've always been an aficionado of the arts, and I love arts on all levels. I love drama, plays, musicians, magicians, comedians, nonetheless. And today we have a full-time professional artist, musician. And I know this is going to be interesting for a lot of people because all of you professional magicians or wannabe professional magicians wonder, how is that possible? I know I do. It seems like a fantasy. I never knew that I'd be able to do stand-up comedy and make a living at it. And so today's guest is Dave Alexander, and Dave is originally from Malden, Massachusetts.
That's right. I grew up in Malden,
Yeah.
class of '83, and I live in Lynn right now, but Malden is always my home.
But I understand you travel a lot.
I've traveled the world from Tokyo to Texas to Hawaii,
That's amazing.
Belgium. Yeah, it's been a great run.
And so, everybody, I think, I not only study the arts and magic and comedy, et cetera, but I'm also fascinated by success. And to me, there's nothing more successful than to be able to do what you love to do. And you're doing that. So now the question comes, I didn't understand that I'd ever be a comedian until I was probably 30 years old. And, I really believe there's a plan in life that you kind of get sucked in at some point. And even though you may have a direction that you want to go a certain way, all of a sudden you find yourself in a whole other world. Now, when did it hit you that you wanted to do music?
Music, yeah, from a very early age. I mean, just the child of television, I watched a lot of television shows. I remember the first one that appealed to me was Zoom, PBS, and all the kids running around and having fun. That's what I wanted to do, run around and have fun. And then I saw a show called The Monkees when I was about 10 or 12 years old. This is where the story takes an interesting twist because I'm a Beatles fan. I'm a huge Beatles fan, but I knew about the Monkees before I knew there was such thing as the Beatles. So the Monkees were my first introduction to what I wanted to do. There's four guys just being goofy on TV, running around, singing great music that I would sing. And so not only did I want to be in front of the camera, but I wanted to play music. I found that I had a natural talent to pick up music by ear.
When did that start? I mean, did you get lessons?
I got trombone lessons in 4th grade, but I always had this block about reading music, and I found that I could play better if I played what I heard.
Right.
I can read a little music, but I play better from hearing music. So just then it just started to grow and grow, and I joined school plays, and in high school we had a variety show, and there was lots of acting and playing in bands, and I joined the high school marching band, and from there I joined a lot of cover bands, started to play the clubs around the Boston scene in the early 80s. So I pretty much decided in high school that, I'm going to try to be a musician. And it's a rocky road.
That's such an amazingly bold move. I mean, everybody, you just know, I know there's certain things that I had to overcome in life. You always get that parental, adult, you can't do this. So did you get that?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I don't know what my parents wanted me to do, but I knew what they didn't want me to do, which was to be a musician, So, it was hard to tell them that this is what I really love, because every time, finally, my mother saw the sparkle in my eyes when I was singing or on stage. And, I started writing music also at 16 years old.
So you overcome, you just mentioned that you had this block with the writing, so you overcame that.
Yeah. Reading. I couldn't read music too well, but I can write. It's something that happens in your head.
So now when
a natural thing.
So even if somebody hands you a sheet of music, can you pick it up from the reading?
Yep, it depends on what it is. I read what's called tablature, where if it's a guitar chart, it'll have the name of the chords on it, and that's what I can read.
Okay.
I know that. So, yeah.
But then once you hear it played through, you're off.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It comes very naturally to me.
Okay, so again, this is for all of you aspiring musicians out there and entertainers, actors, whatever. Here's what I want to dig at. Everybody hears this. Everybody hears or has this desire, or anybody who loves music says, I'm going to do this. But what do you think the percentage is that actually become, make a career out of it like you have?
Oh, the percentage is probably 50% because
50%?
Yeah,
You
I would
think it's that
it's
high?
well. I mean, because a lot of people they play music professionally in club situations, and I don't know if they can make a complete living doing
Okay, so
that.
but you're a complete living
Yeah.
musician. All right.
Then it goes
so
down.
you had to have something in you. This is what I find the interesting. You had something in you that said you put a filter on, and you said, I'm not going there. I'm going where I want to go.
That's right.
Where did you get that conviction?
I don't know. It's just, I guess, from meeting people and interacting with the right people that could see my talent and helped it grow. And it just grew from there. I remember meeting a good friend of mine, Bob Gautreau, who saw this talent in me, and he pretty much was the one that started me on this road to meeting other people that led to where I'm at today. So I kind of have.
So you had a
thank.
mentor.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody needs a mentor. So tell us about some of the obstacles again, because I think, I just read Stephen Jobs' book, and I found it really inspirational because Stephen Jobs said, find out what you love to do and do it, and don't settle. Right.
Yes.
So did you come to that stage where you felt like you had to settle, or did you have that temptation to go back?
Yeah, once in a great while, I've taken odd jobs here and there just to get by because I'm still not rich by any means. I'm just getting by as it is with the economy. But I just have to put my foot down and say, it's too late now to do anything else, It really is.
Isn't that a beautiful, it's that point of no return?
Right.
And the other thing I find amazing is that somehow, and Stephen Jobs alluded to this, and all great spiritual. Stephen Jobs was a very spiritual guy. He studied Zen for a long time. He meditated, and he had a very clear vision on what he wanted to do, and he knew how the universe worked. And he says, plain and simple, don't settle, don't go back. He says, once you go back, you've lost.
Right.
And so you stay there, and somehow you get the gigs.
That's it. Yep, I got the gigs.
And so now I know a little bit about where it led you. What was the turning point that, you've actually toured nationally?
Yes, I have. Turning point started from, I went from cover bands around Boston into doing like cabaret shows around the country with my friend Bob Gautreau. And through him, I met more and more people that were in these improv comedy troupes. And from there, I kept escalating. I met more people that actually put on this great play called the Real Life Brady Bunch play. Mm-hmm. And it was all these adult actors portraying the Brady Bunch on stage. Not the real Bradys, but like adult people playing little kids, which was really funny for the audience because they would do the script verbatim. And I was just the musical director. I took care of all that incidental music that was so much part of the story that people just related to that. And from there, we did that Brady Bunch episode where Davy Jones from the Monkees was a guest star on the Brady Bunch. And we actually got the real live Davy Jones to be himself. So from there,
now was this thing televised?
It wasn't televised. It was a play. It was a stage play. We played Kennedy Center and.
Really?
Yeah.
On that magnitude?
Oh yeah, it was great. We played the Charles Playhouse in Boston for a few weeks. It went all around the country for a good couple of years, and it was gaining quite a lot of notoriety. So yeah, me and Davey became really good friends.
So you hooked up with the Monkees.
With one of the Monkees.
And I understand you're going to play a little something. You brought the guitar?
Yep. Since this was about almost 19 years ago that I met Davy Jones. He's been a great friend of mine. He was a great friend of mine.
So what are you going to play?
I'd like to tribute Davy by playing the song that he made famous from the Monkees. It's called Daydream Believer.
I love that song.
All right. We'll see you in a minute.
Daydream Believer.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep out of my eyes. The shaving razor's cold and it stings. up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? You once thought of me as the white knight on his steed, and now you know how happy I can be. And all good times start and end without $1 to spend. But how much, baby, do we really need? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen? Cheer up, sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a daydream believer and a homecoming queen?
Thanks.
That is that song is so uplifting. You know, you mentioned the Beatles. I don't even understand how you got it to the Monkees before the Beatles, because I'm obviously older than you, and it was the Beatles. But you know, to think that they grabbed a bunch of people and recruited them and synthetically made a Beatles mock-up.
That's it.
But produced absolutely amazing music.
Yep.
And music that even to this day sticks.
It will live forever.
Yeah.
It seems. It's just so familiar and happy-go-lucky music. There was never anything really dark about the Monkees, and it still lives to this
That's true.
day.
You know, I went to I got a master's degree in economics. I went to the University of Connecticut. Pete Torkelson was Tork's father.
Oh, right.
He taught me economics.
Oh, how funny is
So that's the only connection I have. So you met Davey, and then so what happened after that?
And after the Brady Bunch ended in '94, I got a phone call from Davy Jones in that unmistakable voice. You know, he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Would you like to be in my band?" And I was like, I mean, if you're busy, man, you know, it's all right. So I'm like, no, I could do that. Yeah, that'd be great. And that was it. That was the beginning. 1995, we went to Japan. He took me to Japan with him, where he's really big, even when he's standing up. So from there, I just met, I went on tour with Mickey and Davey that summer of '95.
As the Monkees?
Yeah, they called it the Best of the Monkees with
Really?
Mickey and Davey. And that was a great summer. And then in '96, what happened was it was the 30th anniversary tour. So they wanted Peter to come back. And Peter had, you know, to get him back, they had to offer him like, well, you can bring one of your band members, somebody that you want in the band. And so that's when I kind of got the boot for 1 year or 2 years, but I was lucky enough to work still with them on a more technical capacity. I became the stage manager and the guitar technician for a good couple of years.
Amazing.
Which was fine because you know, I got a good paycheck. I got to still travel the world. And in 1997, we went to England, where Mike Nesmith actually joined the other three Monkees. So it was
my
a
God,
Monkees
so they had the original?
real and it was great because even though I was standing off stage, I just was watching my childhood idols right there in front of me. It was incredible, and I was like,
It's amazing.
it was massive. It was massive. And so,
That is. I mean, you know, I've spoken about this before on the show. As a kid, I lost my leg at the age of 13, and had all of these obstacles and roadblocks, and you deal with adversity, and so you learn the secrets of success, you know.
Right.
And you always hear about having a dream and having clear vision of that dream.
Right.
And it's so, you know, this is absolutely mind blowing. Here's your idols.
right.
And it's freaky. I mean, did you think about that a lot? Did you have that in mind that someday that might happen? Did you
I never
it just
Yeah.
rolled around?
It just happened. A dream came true. It's just what I wanted as a kid, to live with the monkeys, and I did. The good and the bad, you know. It was really fun. So it was great. And what happened at the end?
Again, you know, part of the reason we call the show Upbeat is we, you know, try to take little lessons. Again, we're talking to those aspiring musicians, aspiring actors, aspiring comedians, aspiring artists, whatever you are, you want to go there. Can you give a tip on how maybe that happened?
I don't know. I would just say I was myself all of the time. I just try to never be phony, which sometimes I found in this business gets you a little further, but
What, being phony?
yeah,
Really?
you know, I met a lot of phony people here and there, but for me, just being myself helped me win people over, you know, just talking to them. And the other big thing is, you know, the common interest that me and Davey and Mickey have with the Beatles. So as long as I was playing Beatle music off stage, they would sing along.
Is that right?
And this is what got me eventually back into the band situation, is Mickey didn't realize I had all this knowledge of Beatles music. So one day after a show, I was playing the piano at the bar for a good solid 3 hours, all Beatles, and Mickey was singing along and having a good time, and he's like, I never knew you had so much talent. And so that was like a common denominator that kept us together for all these years, Beatles music. Go figure.
Unbelievable. So now do you still play with all of the members? Or?
Well, I've been with Mickey for the past 6 years as his keyboard player. We're off to Epcot Center May 18th, and for the weekend, we're taking over Davey's, you know, tenure there. He had like a 12-year tenure there,
Wow.
which I was a part of too. So it'd be like a bittersweet homecoming, you know, because it's been really hard, you know, for losing a good friend, because Davey was more than just an employer to me. He was definitely a father figure, a brother figure, you know, a friend. You know, he was very generous and loving and caring, and so that's also what we had in common. You know, we weren't buttholes, you know.
Yeah,
We were
right.
good.
Now, you talk about this proximity to the Beatles. Did you guys ever get to ultimately meet any of them?
No, they did in the 60s. They were at the Sgt. Pepper, a couple of the Sgt. Pepper sessions.
Really?
Yeah, and Mickey talks about that in his show.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. And a couple
Were
of years
were
ago,
they on that level? Could they play music that well?
yeah, they could. They really could. You know, you wouldn't have known that. You know, Mickey is an accomplished rhythm guitar player, you know, as well as a drummer. He took drum lessons because he became the drummer of the Monkees. He took drum lessons. He's a really good drummer. Not many people realize. And yeah, Mike Nesmith and Peter, they're both accomplished folk musicians back in the 60s. So yeah, they became friends with the Beatles.
Well, so what? Again, you know, the show is Upbeat, and we'll talk about, you know, so you obviously had to develop a certain level of confidence.
Yeah, I guess
Can you call it a turning point? Was it those improv shows you were doing?
I think so. It's just being able to get in front of a crowd and just presenting yourself without
Right.
being
Exactly.
afraid. Just
I think they call it, what's it, the 1,000th hour, 10,000th. If you do something, I forget the author's name that wrote the Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell, I think it is, and he wrote the Tipping Point that in a subsequent book that, and he talked about the Beatles, that if you play enough, if you do enough, then the magic happens. If you put that much time in, do you feel that that's true, that correlation?
for sure, yeah, for sure. Just keep doing what you're doing and doing it the best you can.
And of course, you've got the love. I
Yeah.
mean, that's it. That's the passion. So, what other big things? I mean, what gets bigger than that, though? If here you are, the reason you get into music is because you love a group like the Monkees,
Yeah.
and then you end up on stage.
Crazy,
with
huh?
them. That's magical.
It is. It's a lucky break, I think, but I was at the right place at the right time. That happens a lot in the business.
Yeah.
Being at the right place.
Do you
at
feel
the
like
right
there's that was kind of, a life's plan for you? I mean, you can argue destiny, whatever, but what do you feel?
I often say that I wish that I liked the Monkees first. I mean, the Beatles first. Because then I might have been on stage with Paul McCartney talking to you. Oh yeah, Paul and I just played Barcelona in Mexico City. But no, it's not that. I don't mind how things turned out. It was great. I'm so happy with my life.
So, how about another song?
Oh sure, how about another Monkey song?
Absolutely. The only thing would be better with the Beatles, but I
Yes.
love the Monkees. What are you going to play?
How about I'm a Believer? I'll give it a try.
And are you a believer?
I am. We'll see. We'll see after the song.
Okay, great. I'm a believer. Dave Alexander.
I thought love was only true in fairy tales. I met someone else, not for me. All love is out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. There's not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. Ooh, oh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. I thought love was more or less a given thing. It seems the more I gave, the less I got. Oh, what's the use in trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. There's not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. Ooh, oh, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. To the monkey. Come on, to the monkey. Oh, love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. And then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. There's not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love, oh yeah, I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Yes, I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. There's not a trace of doubt in my mind. Said I'm a believer, yeah, yeah. I'm a believer. Yeah, I'm a believer, yeah, yeah. I'm a believer. And then I saw her face. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. And you
Thank you.
are a believer. I'm a believer. This is really exciting when you can get somebody like you and what the magic of that. I mean, to me, life is magical. It has its ups and downs.
Right.
It's just a major setback for you. What could it have been throughout life? Does something stand out as a
As
setback?
far as
anything?
Geez, I can't.
I mean, having you talked about him being a friend and losing him. I mean, did you take that as a setback? Or?
Yeah, that was pretty hard. I guess probably my biggest setback. I mean, it's a little personal, but I mean, you know, being on the road for so much time and having the free alcohol available to you.
Okay.
That pretty much caught up with me about 3.5 years ago. I came close to taking all that for granted and like nearly losing my life. It was pretty scary. So like,
Yeah, that's the big
you know,
temptation. I just read Keith Richards' book, Life.
Oh,
and,
right.
oh my God, you know, I mean, the trap that they get into.
Right.
And, you know, what is that though? What is the trap? That it's just available, or that you're depressed, or
yeah, available and hiding from things that you don't want to face, and seeing the world through, you know, being high rather than seeing the world for, you know, what it is really. It's interesting.
That's the part that always intrigued me. How do they reach those heights, and they got the dream, but yet, what is it inside that makes you go that way? I mean,
yeah, one of my friends always said if she ever won the Academy Award, her speech would be, "I'd like to thank my parents for instilling in me the want to seek the love of strangers," which was kind of funny.
Exactly. So now, we mentioned the Beatles. I understand you do the Beatles.
Right. The Beatles have come full circle, and they play
you have a website?
Yeah, we started a band last year with some high school friends who actually became mortgage bankers for their career, and now they wanted to do music again, and they're Beatles fans like me. So we started a band last September. It's called Glass Onion, and we cover the Beatles music and the Beatles influences. So you never know what you're going to get. I mean, we do a lot of deep cuts, and we pay attention to the harmonies. And it's just acoustic guitars and drums.
Really?
I'll play a little keyboard here and there, and a little bass guitar here and there.
What part of their career? What do you focus
Everything.
on?
From before they were famous until their solo material.
And acoustically, not?
Yeah, we pretty much.
What about the keyboard?
Keep it low key. I'll play keyboard for like Hey Jude or Let It Be or Day in the Life, but mostly we just sing. We're focusing on the harmonies, which is
beautiful.
what a lot of people don't focus on. And
what's the website?
oh, it's called onionlove.net.
Onionlove.net.
Right.
That's pretty easy.
It's cool, and you can find our Facebook page if you type in Facebook/Glass Onion Music. You can find us on Facebook.
So in all the clubs locally? I mean, a lot of clubs?
We play mainly in the North Shore, like Salem and Marblehead and Concord. We'll play once in a while. We play Main Street's Market and Cafe. Once every 2 months, which is a nice little gig for us.
You got a pretty good fan base?
So far, so good. You know, it's catching on. Every place that we play, people really like our style because we don't dress like them. We just are up there showing our passion and our love for the Beatles music. So please check out our site.
I'll tell you, this is, you know, we never know where one of these interviews is going to go. This has been an absolute blast. I'm just buzzing from the fact that you had these heroes as the Monkees and got to tour with them, and now playing Beatles music and making money.
Yeah, it's fun. Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Dave. It was a blast. Dave Alexander, ladies and gentlemen. And that website one more time?
onionlove.net.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks.